set. I'll pick every series, give you my thoughts on each. Brian Scalabrine, final hour, former Celtic, great guy, broadcaster, funny dude, joins us as well. Steven Jackson just in. I thought he was great. Relationships end, hopefully never with your kids or who you're currently married to. But business relationships, they end all the time. And generally for good reason. Somebody now doesn't have the value they used to. Sometimes you have business changes, cultural changes, mergers. I fly Virgin America all the time. They got bought by Alaska Airlines. I'm going to tell you right now, the Alaska airline bosses will keep their jobs, and the Virgin Atlantic executives will probably not. That's what happens when a big airline buys another airline. The buyer keeps their executives. My point is, relationships end, and it's generally just timing. Even good, fruitful relationships, joyful ones, fun, end usually in business before one party is happy. Des Bryant is going to meet with the Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones, in the next 48 hours. Cowboys open up their off-season workouts on Monday. Des is 29, 30 soon, declining player, hasn't had more than 900 yards since 2015. Jerry, please listen to me. Don't get nostalgic and don't get emotional. Yes, that should have been ruled a catch against Green Bay in 2014. It is now 2018. You moved off Tony Romo, a real leader and a necessity at the time, and you moved off him for Deck. It showed a real maturity by Jerry Jones, who through the years has his moments with that, but can also be impulsive. Dez is now needy and expensive, a $17 million cap hit, marginally committed, can't separate, mediocre at actually catching the ball, and is a salary cap nightmare. Once again, Jerry, vote no on Prop 88. Wide receivers don't win games, especially ones that don't catch. He's no longer great at anything other than being an elite distraction. It would be one thing if he was a great leader, if he was crucial to the locker room dynamic. Many would argue he's the opposite of both. It's time. It's been fruitful. Both parties got something out of the other. But Alan Hearns is now in town, a more committed player, and frankly today, maybe as good a player. Vote no, dump Dez, prop number 88. I want to support a guy who I have not supported a ton in the last 2 months. In fact, the word is he's aware of it and doesn't like me. His name is Baker Masyfield. He's in the news today for a story that's sort of interesting. Tony Grossi, ESPN Cleveland radio guy, says that Baker Masyfield demanded first-class airfare from the Browns. He demanded an upgrade. The story is disputed by a Sports Illustrated writer, Robert Klemko. Grossi says it took him 3 credit cards. 3 credit cards before he was good enough to use one. What does that say? He's got bad credit. My question to this story is, if Baker was using his credit card, then how was he demanding from the Browns an upgrade? I don't know if I buy the story. But let me just say this. I'm going to support Baker Masyfield for 2 big reasons. One, if you are a celebrity, there is no value in sitting in the middle seat in row 28. Baker Masyfield would have the worst 3-hour flight of his life if he got between 2 Sooner fans in row 29. Upgrade to first class at every opportunity if you're as well known as Baker Masyfield. Number 2 is, and I'm going to speak for guys here, not for women. They tend to be smarter and more organized. What college male out of college at 21 or 22 years old had great credit, remarkable organizational skills? Ask any mom. They're probably still paying for their son's car insurance. Baker Masyfield has issues. He's got baggage. I think he's a marginal athlete with an okay arm, who runs too much and has a police video. Not a big fan, would not draft him, am not putting my job in his hands. But he's going to get a total pass from me on this. He's a 22-year-old kid. I was a 22-year-old kid. I'm not sure I would have qualified at 22 for a candy bar on a credit card. That's how bad my credit was. It took me until my late 20s to get it figured out because I was mostly a young male, and most of us, myself, are really dumb in our 20s. And I'll also give a kid who, didn't he win the Heisman? Yeah, he's famous. If he doesn't want to take the middle seat on a JetBlue or Southwest Airlines flight, and I got his back. Maybe not as a franchise quarterback, but as a 22-year-old male. All right, so the NBA season, we have a great second hour. Ray Lewis stops by. NBA playoffs are set. I think there's a couple series that are really go-either-way series. And I do think, you know how I feel, that in my life I follow history. And history shows that dynasties and teams with multiple veteran players do have an ability to flip a switch. But for the first time since I can remember, I'm not sure the Warriors can without Steph Curry. I'm really not sure. It's not just that they're losing. They're not nearly as good defensively. They're asking players like Draymond Green to do more he's capable of. The ball movement without Steph is not as good, and the pacing is slower. I think the Warriors, in the first round, are actually vulnerable. And as a general rule, any veteran team that's won a title with multiple All-Stars can flip a switch. They fight apathy and fatigue as much as their opponents. I'm not sure with the Warriors. Got to watch and see. I'll break them all down. Every series, East and West, in hour number 2. In L.A., it's The Herd.
Over 70 superstars are looking to return to the arena.
We're changing the game.
Who's going to make the cut? The Big 3 Draft is coming to FS1.